Hi guys, this is Christine. It is Sunday evening, September 6th, 2015, and I want to share something with you. It's about the movie Maleficent from 2014. It has Angelina Jolie in it, and she plays Maleficent. It's a modern day version of Sleeping Beauty, the Walt Disney movie from 1959, the original. I, for some reason, felt impressed to watch it maybe last week. I don't think it's been more than 2 weeks that it's been on my heart. I think it was like last week. And I don't know why, but I just felt like there was something that I was supposed to watch regarding this Sleeping Beauty. The video store I normally go to calls me like the next day or the day after. It's either 1 or 2 days, but it was very soon after I felt impressed to watch this, and they tell me that I qualify, it's probably a lot of people, but for a free video rental. So for the next 2 weeks, if I come in, I can rent a video for free. It won't cost me anything, and then it's half price on any other videos, so it's like a promotion. But they actually called me, and I felt like, okay, maybe I am supposed to watch this movie, because it's like pretty much being handed to me. That was last week, and then today I felt impressed to go get it, so I called them to find out if they had any in the store, you know, in stock, and they did, and I went up there and got it, and I watched it tonight, and oh my goodness, this is the most beautiful movie I think I've ever seen in my life, and there have been several movies that I've really liked, but this one, it like broke me. I just broke out in tears. I actually had to put the movie on pause and get up and walk around and go wipe my tears, and I mean, it was just, I never cried so hard. It totally broke me, because it was so touching. I'll just go over a little bit of it, but I highly recommend if you want to watch it. I know that Maleficent is supposed to be, I mean, just the word Maleficent I think means evil if you look it up in the dictionary. I'm not sure, but I think that's what it means. But just, you know, her costume, she's got 2 black devil horns, she's dressed in all black. I mean, when you look at it from the outward appearance, it looks like an evil movie, like they're glorifying evil or darkness or something like that, but that's not it. You have to look beyond the physical and look at the spiritual meaning and significance of the movie, and when you see that, it's going to shake you to your core, and that's what I want to share with you guys in this video. It starts out with her as a young girl, and you know, she's got love in her heart. Now she's dressed in all black, she's got the black horns even as a girl, and she has dark wings. Now if you were to look at that from an external viewpoint, dark wings usually mean black wings. It's the fallen angels, or what you might call demons. She's dressed in all black, and she's got 2 black devil horns, so obviously you would think, or you know, associate her to be the devil, but she's actually got a heart. And she meets this boy who's about her age. There's 2 kingdoms. One is the human kingdom, and they have a king and a queen ruling over them, and then the other kingdom is like where the fairies live, and it's more of a magical kingdom, and there are no kings or queens there. It's just everybody does teamwork, and they all look out for each other. So the human kingdom would sort of be like the world, and then the fairy kingdom would be like the spiritual kingdom. And in the movie it says that the two of them are complete opposites. They don't have anything in common, but there was a saying that eventually either a villain or a a villain or a hero would be the one to unite the two kingdoms. So she meets a boy from the human kingdom about her age, and they become friends, and she eventually learns to love him, and he goes back to the human kingdom, but then he comes back every once in a while. And they're young, like maybe 8 years old, but he comes back every once in a while, and when they're 16 years old, he kisses her, I guess, for the first time, and that was supposed to be true love's kiss. So that's supposedly what he told her. But he starts to become greedy and lets the worldly kingdom corrupt him, so to speak. And he comes back later on as a trick because he wants to become king. So he cuts off her angel wings, Maleficent's angel wings, and takes them back to the king, tells him that he's killed the king's arch enemy, and in exchange he's going to be allowed to be the successor king, King Stephen. Now the first learning lesson there is don't do anything that will cause you guilt, because this Stefan guy had guilt from what he had done by cutting off her angel wings, and it gnawed on him until he almost went like crazy. So that's the first learning lesson you can get from the movie, is don't do anything that will cause you to have guilt. You know, it actually eats away at your essence of who you are as a person. So don't do that. Stefan, becomes king because of his deed, and they have a little girl who is named Aurora, and she is the Sleeping Beauty. Now Aurora, it's interesting that in Alaska there's something called the Aurora Borealis. It's the northern lights, and they are like rainbow colored lights that are like waves that go through the northern Alaska skies. They're really beautiful, but Aurora is light. So, they put her in this woodcutter shed and they raise her until she's 16, because Maleficent comes at the so-called christening, or when everybody shows up at the birth of the little baby girl, and tells the family, that when she turns 16, she'll die, or like fall into a deep sleep, and only true love's kiss is going to wake her up. And the reason she does that is because Stefan, the king, gave Maleficent a kiss at 16, and he ended up betraying her by cutting off her angel wings later on in order to gain the kingdom. So she did not believe in true love, and that's why she thought, the curse can't be broken because true love doesn't exist. So that's why she cursed the little girl with that curse. But she watches the little girl, and she actually intervenes in her life several times, like when the little girl almost walks off of a cliff, and just times when the fairies were not watching over the little girl, but Maleficent was watching over her and would actually save her on several occasions. So Aurora gets older, and she knows, that this Maleficent has been following her, like the shadow has been following her, but she doesn't know who she is. So when they first meet, she goes, "I know who you are, you're my fairy godmother." And Maleficent is taken back, but in truth she is, because she's the queen of the fairies. And as for a godmother, she is the same age as her father, King Stefan, so she technically could be like a mother figure for her, and she has actually been watching over her. over the years. And it's interesting that when the little girl was a baby in her cradle, Maleficent was looking through the window and she always called her Beastie, the little girl. So instead of, little girl, she would call her Beastie. And in reality, she was just seeing herself, her own reflection in the little girl. So, because Maleficent is actually the one who looks like a beast, with the two animal bull horns on her head. She's actually the beast, Maleficent is, but she's looking at the little girl and is calling her Beastie, when really it's just the reflection of herself that she's seeing, and that's why she's calling the little girl that. So every time she calls the little girl this name, the little girl just smiles at her, and it actually melts your heart, and then Maleficent even tells her, "I hate you," to the little girl, and the little girl just smiles back at her again, like, okay, because all she has is love in her heart. So it starts to warm Maleficent's heart, because her loss of love is what turned her dark. This whole episode with her father, King Stefan, is what turned Maleficent dark. So the little girl, when she's older later on, and she tells her, "You're my fairy godmother," Maleficent doesn't say anything, but the two of them end up becoming friends, and it is almost like a mother-daughter relationship. And Aurora only has love and kindness in her heart, and she starts to melt Maleficent's cold heart, and eventually Maleficent realizes, I don't want to curse this girl anymore. I don't want her to prick her finger, on the spindle, and I don't want her to die, because she's not going to wake up unless she can find true love's kiss, and Maleficent doesn't believe in true love because of what King Stefan did to her. So she's expecting that, this girl she's going to die at 16 and she's never going to come back. Well, the day before her 16th birthday, the fairies tell her who she really is, that she's actually the king's daughter, and that she's been hidden out in the woodcutter's shed because she's got a curse on her. So Aurora goes and finds Maleficent and then asks her, "Are you the evil in the world that you told me you can't protect me from? And you're the one who cursed me?" And Maleficent tells her, "Yes, it is. It's me." So Aurora ends up leaving, disheartened nonetheless. And she gets a horse and rides. She wants to go back to the castle, to her dad's castle, and meet him for the first time, because the only time she's seen her dad is when she was first born, when they took her as an infant, so she really doesn't know her father at all. But en route to the castle, she comes upon a boy her age, and he's actually a prince from another kingdom. He's human also. And they kind of have like love at first sight type of thing. And he agrees to come back and visit her. So, they're obviously attracted to each other. She goes to her dad, and then her dad says, "What are you doing here? You're here a day early. I wanted them to bring you back the day after your 16th birthday." So he tells her, the people in the kingdom to lock her in a room and make sure that nothing gets to her. But the curse gets to her anyways. It's like a frequency that goes into her, and it almost like hypnotizes her, and she starts walking towards this room in the dungeon that has all the spindles in it that the king had taken and locked in this room and burned them because he didn't want her to prick her finger on any of them. Well, she ends up going down there through some kind of a hypnosis, a frequency, and she's not even realizing what she's doing. She's just going down there to that room, and then a spindle kind of appears out of nowhere. It sort of assembles itself, and she pricks herself, and Maleficent is on her way to the castle, and she's bringing the prince. She's put the prince in like a sleep state himself, and she's bringing the prince with her. because she's hoping that the prince will be true love's kiss that will wake the girl up. And she actually feels it when the girl pricks her finger and falls to the ground unconscious, and Maleficent's like, oh my gosh, it just happened. So even en route on the horse, she's feeling, because she's connected to Aurora, so she knows that it's already happened, even though she hasn't reached the castle yet. So she brings the prince in. He's still in a trance, and then she wakes him up, and he is right at the door where Aurora is sleeping with the three fairies who are watching over her. So the three fairies are like, can you kiss her, because you know her, the two of you liked each other at the beginning, so maybe this is true love's kiss. So he does, he kisses her, but nothing happens, and she doesn't wake up. And that's what's different about this movie versus the original 1959 movie. So the fairies get upset, and they take him out, and they say, oh, we got to find somebody else now, because obviously he's not it. So they take him out of the room. The fairies do not know that Maleficent is in the room. She's hiding behind some kind of a screen out of sight. So she ends up coming out from behind the screen when the fairies and the prince have left the room. And she comes over to Aurora's bedside, and she starts talking to her and apologizing and asking for forgiveness. And she tells her that Aurora has restored a part of her heart that she had lost when she went dark, because of the pain of losing love when she was younger. And she cries a little, Maleficent. So Aurora has obviously softened Maleficent's heart and has gotten her back in touch. And the other thing is, this is what children will do to you. I never really realized that, because I don't have children of my own, but children will actually melt your heart if you have them also, because anything that you have to love, a pet can be another good thing. If you have a pet, just somebody or something to love, it will melt your heart. And Maleficent loves Aurora like a daughter, so Aurora kind of melted her heart. And Aurora is love and light, and Maleficent is darkness and being lost. So Maleficent bends down and kisses Aurora on the forehead, and then she turns around because she's going to walk out of the room, and Aurora wakes up and says, Godmother. And Maleficent turns around, and that's where I broke out crying, because when she went over to her bedside, when Maleficent went over to her bedside, that's when it hit me. It's like, oh my God, Maleficent is true love. She is true love's kiss. And it was. And what I got out of this is every person has two sides. You've got a self-hatred side that doesn't like you. That's the Maleficent side. And everybody has an Aurora side that's only love and light. And even if Maleficent wants to be mean to you and curse you and do all kinds of mean things, Aurora just loved Maleficent. She never retaliated. She just loved her. She saw her as her fairy godmother, which normally, like with Cinderella, fairy godmother is somebody who helps you. But Maleficent wasn't there to help her. She had cursed her. So, but Aurora is actually love and light. That's the side of you that only has love, that doesn't think anything bad, it doesn't think anything evil, it just loves. It's just carefree and happy and joyous. And then you've got Maleficent, which is the complete opposite. And when the two of them learn to love each other, that's when the two kingdoms unite. That's when you become a whole person. Your dark side no longer hates you, because the love has healed it. They both needed healing from each other. They're both one and the same. And it was just so beautiful. I cried. Oh my gosh, I cried. And then at the end of the movie, it says that Maleficent took down her wall of thorns, because what had happened was she had, like the the forest of trees, with the trees that would attack you. Um, with the trees that would attack you, she had put a wall of thorns around her kingdom to keep people out. And that's what people do when you're hurt. You put a wall around you so that nobody can get in and hurt you. So Maleficent had put this wall of thorns, like a border of thorns around her kingdom. And that's what people do. They put a border of thorns. And thorns can be sharp words, but it's a border of thorns around their heart. And they don't let anybody get near them. Don't love me. Don't be nice to me. Don't take care of me or nothing like that. That's Maleficent. That's the Maleficent side of us. But at the end of the movie, when Aurora's love and light had healed Maleficent's heart, and Maleficent had in turn healed her. First she cursed her, but then she saved her, because Maleficent was true love. Aurora needed Maleficent to love her. She was true love. And that's what all of us need, is for our two sides, our Maleficent dark side and our Aurora love and light side. They're true love for each other. And our kingdoms, which is our body, will never be healed so long as those two sides are fighting inside of you, because they both need each other. They're both each other's true love. And it wasn't the prince who was Aurora's true love, like in the original movie. It's not a man. It's not a prince who's going to save you. You save yourself by healing your own Maleficent. So Maleficent cursed her, Aurora, but she also gave her life, because in loving her, in being her true love's kiss, she brought her back to life. They both saved each other. It's just so beautiful. And it's said that Maleficent took down her wall of thorns, and she took off her crown, because she had become the queen of the fairies. See, she was so hurt from having lost love at a young age, from being betrayed from King Stephen, that she ended up becoming her own queen. And that's what a lot of people do. You hurt me, so I'm going to be king over my own world, my own domain, and I'm going to rule over you and control you and tell you what to do, so that you don't get through my borders and you don't hurt me in the future. Everybody ends up becoming their own king or their own queen, and nobody is allowed to approach them. Otherwise you get your head bitten off. But so Maleficent, says that she took off her crown. She took the walls down, the thorns, so no people could get through to her and to her kingdom. She took her crown off and became as everybody else. So it went back to teamwork instead of me ruling over you or ruling over everybody else. And then it said Maleficent's heart went back to what she was as a child, when her heart was bright. And she said, our kingdoms have been united. So in essence, the human kingdom and the fairy kingdom have been united by both a hero and a villain. And both of them, Aurora and Maleficent, were both heroes, because Aurora saved Maleficent by softening her heart, getting her back in touch with love. And Maleficent brought Aurora back by being true love, by loving her and being her true love's kiss. And she broke the spell simply by loving her. This was just the most beautiful movie, in my opinion. And kings and kingdoms, like the kingdom in the human realm in this movie, when you have one person ruling over everybody else, that's where people suffer. But in the fairy kingdom, everybody worked together as teamwork. That's like the spiritual kingdom. There's no hierarchy. There's only hierarchy in the world. There's no hierarchy in the spirit realm. Everybody, we're all equal. I mean, even Jesus, he said that we're all brethren. So we're all equal. It's only in the physical world, like the human world, where you have hierarchy and rulership and dictatorship. So each of us has both of those kingdoms in us. We've got a kingdom that wants to boss people around and rule over them, but we've also got a spirit kingdom in us where it's just teamwork and everybody looks after each other, everybody takes care of each other, and everybody has something to contribute. So this Maleficent movie is totally about healing. It's about healing your dark side, your evil Maleficent side that got dark when it lost love or was betrayed or just when it lost love, it went dark. When she lost her wings. Oh yeah. And at the end, before the very end of the movie, Maleficent gets caught by the king. He puts a chain over her, like sort of like how you would put a net over an animal. And Maleficent tells Aurora to run, and get free. So she runs into this room, and in this room are Maleficent's wings. They're in a glass showcase. And the wings start moving because I guess they, in the glass showcase, they start moving because I guess they sense that Maleficent is in the building or in the castle. So Aurora goes to throw the glass case over to break the glass, and she does. She knocks it over, it falls on the ground. The glass shakes, and then the wings end up taken off outside of the glass showcase. And they fly to Maleficent, and they actually attach themselves back to Maleficent. So she gets her wings back, which is symbolic of she gets her power back. So she lost her wings because a kingship, a rulership, will take your wings from you. It takes your power from you. It's like in the workforce. You got bosses who rule over you. They have the power and control over you, and they tell you what to do, when you can go to lunch, when you can go to break, etc. So kingship takes your wings. It takes your power, your flight. And that's what happened to Maleficent when her wings got cut off by King Stephen, or Stephen. But the wings find their way back to Maleficent. She gets them, and they attach back onto her, and she's able to fly again. She gets her power back. So Aurora, in that respect, saves Maleficent also, because she gives, through her love, she gives Maleficent her power back through giving her her wings back. So she goes from being a fallen angel back to being reinstated into her original state of having her wings back again. It's just incredible, this movie, all the spiritual significance, and it's totally a movie about love and healing, and I highly recommend it. You can look at it from just a physical cartoon. Well, actually it's not a cartoon, it's like a modern day version of the cartoon, but you can just look at it from an external perspective if you want to. But if you can look at it deeper from a spiritual significance, it will totally and radically change your life. And your Maleficent will be healed, and your Aurora will heal your Maleficent, and they both end up being love in the end. It's mother and daughter, I guess. I don't know, but it's just totally beautiful. So I just wanted to share this with you because I was really touched by this movie, and I hope you will be too. Okay, take care everyone, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Sorry that this was so long, but I just can't stop raving about this movie. So okay, bye bye, have a good night.